This is Visitor's Book, and I'm Maya, your host. In this program, we're going to be meeting with diplomats and foreigners who are here in Pakistan, and we're going to find out what they really think about the country. So today, our guest is Claire Roberts, a British traveler who has traveled all over the world with her bicycle. So let's go meet with her. Hi Claire, how are you?
Hi Maya, I'm well, thank you.
Nice to see you here. Have you ever been here?
No, I haven't. Looks beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it? It's such a nice weather. It's still not that cold, although it's almost December now.
I know, gorgeous day.
So, this is your second time in Pakistan, right?
That's right, yes.
What made you want to come back here?
Well, there's still so much to see. It's such a beautiful country. Also, I left my bike here.
Oh, okay.
So, and I wanted to carry on with my travels, and last time I was here, I was only here for 2 months. So
okay, but that's still a
it's
fairly
a long
reasonable,
time.
yeah.
But there's still so much to see. So I was quite keen to get back.
Oh wow! And I mean, so the first time was that a year ago, or that was?
Yes,
okay.
yeah, a year ago.
Wow. So, I mean, you know, obviously we have this pandemic going on here now. How has it been traveling during all of this? You're from the UK.
That's right,
Was it
yes.
difficult to come here? What kind of, did you have to follow some kind of, SOPs, whatever?
Yeah, I didn't find it so difficult, actually. Yeah. There were just some tighter restrictions at the airport, and they would test temperature. They came onto the plane to test my temperature.
Oh, really?
I had to get a COVID test before being allowed on the plane. So other than that, I thought it was quite nice. The airports were less crowded, and I had to quarantine when I came here.
Really?
Self-quarantine for 2 weeks. But other than that, it was quite easy, I thought.
Yeah, and you haven't been worried traveling and moving around here in Pakistan about catching?
No, I haven't been worried. People seem to be being very careful, and so why not get on with it? That's what I thought.
Yeah. So how much longer do you have left here this time around then?
So I've got another 2 weeks, but I'm hoping to extend my visa for another 6 months.
Okay, why is that?
Yeah, inshallah.
Wow.
Because yesterday I went to the Heritage Museum, and I just saw how diverse Pakistan is, and it's such a rich culture, so many different people in so many different provinces, and even within provinces.
Yeah.
So there's still so much that I want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I can extend my visa. We'll just see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, 6 months. That will be, I think, enough time to get somewhere You've never been to the southern parts yet, right?
No, that's right.
Okay. So that's what you want to see still.
Yeah.
And you're still traveling on bike.
Well, this time I've been travelling a little bit by vehicles.
Okay.
I haven't really been on my bicycle, but I'm hoping to get back on the bike and cycle south, to Karachi.
Wow, that's
hopefully.
so cool. Amazing. Hope it works out.
Yeah, me too.
So anyway, I just wanted to talk about how did you get this idea of coming to Pakistan in the first place? What made you think that looks like an interesting country to travel to?
Well, when I was planning my bicycle route, I didn't actually plan it that tightly. It was, not that rigidly, but I did know that I wanted to cycle Pamir Highway and the Karakoram Highway, which obviously is here in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So other than that, I didn't know an awful lot about Pakistan, but this road is kind of like a mecca for cyclists.
Is it? Okay.
So, the switchbacks coming down from Kunjarab Pass.
Right.
It's an awesome route to cycle.
Yeah. So that's what you wanted to experience. That's the reason you came here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you just said you didn't know that much about Pakistan, but what kind of an idea did you have? What kind of perception did you have of the country? What did you think you would find here before you came here?
I wasn't entirely sure. I suppose I was, from looking at pictures of the Karakoram Highway, I knew that there was beautiful landscape here, beautiful mountains.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't know what to expect of the cities or the villages. I'd visited India before and other Islamic countries in Central Asia.
All right.
I kind of thought they might be a little bit similar. So actually I was quite surprised when I got here how developed Pakistan is.
Really?
I suppose I was expecting it to be a little bit less so. I don't know why.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's surprisingly quite developed.
Did you try to research things, like did you, I don't know, check out some travel blogs or stuff like that? How did you do your research, basically?
Not really.
Yeah?
I tend not to when I'm going into a new country, because I just like the country to unfold in front of me and for me to learn about it as I travel with fresh eyes. And all I had seen was, you know, a few pictures in cycling handbooks of the Karakoram Highway and a few points of interest maybe, but I didn't really do any research.
Wow. So
my travel companion, I travelled with somebody through Pakistan, my friend Jamie.
Okay.
So he is more of a researcher, so I kind of left that to him.
All right. Well, that worked out then.
Yeah.
Great. So then when you first came here, what would you say was your first impression? What, like, in terms of the people, the culture, was there anything really surprising other than it being like more developed than you had imagined?
Right, my first impressions was how magnificent the mountains were, because I arrived in Sost.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. I actually stayed in Sost for 6 days, and people are like, why? Why did you stay there? Like, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I'd only just arrived in the country. There were these magnificent snow-capped mountains.
Wow.
And, you know, the tallest mountain in Wales is only 1,000 metres.
Right.
So when you're
That's not even a mountain, right?
Now I look at them and think they're hills.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can imagine.
I mean, they're still beautiful. I still love my country.
Of course.
But, the mountains here are something else.
Yeah.
I love the mountains. Can't get enough of them. So, and the hospitality as well is something that is every day, everywhere I go, people are offering to help me with one thing or another.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday I said I was going to the museum. A guy I was speaking to said, I'll accompany you, I'll be your guide.
Aww.
Yeah, I walked past a florist last week. Somebody gifted me a floral bracelet.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Really sweet. Everywhere I go, you know, offers of tea, dinner.
Yeah.
I've had so many hosts as well in the country. It's really heartwarming.
Yeah, and I think it's like a cultural thing that we as Westerners aren't that used to, because we tend to be more individualistic, I guess, and here there's such a strong sense of community and family, and everybody wants to include someone they see as a guest or like a foreigner, don't you think?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know if it's due to the extended families or what, but yeah, as foreigners we get such a great welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel privileged.
Yeah, absolutely. So another thing I wanted to mention, I mean, you're a solo female traveler. Did you ever face any issues because of that here in Pakistan? I mean, people tend to think that it's a conservative country, although, I mean, you know, there are so many layers to the society that you can't really say it's conservative or liberal or whatever. But what would you say there were any issues?
I've had the odd issue a couple of times, but nothing major.
Yeah.
I think maybe some men's perception of Western women is a little bit wrong sometimes, maybe. So I've had a couple of issues, but on the whole, not. I've found people who maybe are quite conservative to be extremely tolerant of Westerners. You know, they might not think I dress appropriately as for a woman sometimes, perhaps, but I've always found them to be extremely polite and never made me feel uncomfortable for something that they maybe felt wasn't quite right. I mean, we don't always get it right, do we?
Yeah,
I try to be as respectful as I can.
Yeah. But there's a lot of understanding that we are not from the same culture, and then
I think
that's actually another thing I wanted to ask you. Like, there's a lot of rules, like cultural rules in Pakistan that don't necessarily apply to us as Western women. Have you noticed anything that you're able to do something that maybe Pakistani women wouldn't find that easy always?
Yeah, well, maybe the cycling.
Yeah.
I think for some women that's difficult.
Yeah.
I stayed with a family, and the daughter of the family had to cycle inside the garden.
Yeah.
And wasn't allowed to cycle on the street. Then again, I've been cycling with some clubs in Lahore.
Yeah.
And there's every day there's more and more women joining.
That's amazing.
And I was at the bicycle shop the other day, and there was an older woman coming in to buy her first bicycle.
No way.
And yeah, she was going to have some cycle lessons. So
that's so cool.
yeah, I think
there's a
things
change.
Yeah, I think so. And that's great. I mean, it's great for the health of the nation. It's fantastic for women.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I do know that as a woman, I'm allowed to do a lot more things as a Western woman than maybe local women are. And sometimes men are very protective here of me, and they want to accompany me places.
Yeah.
Which is lovely, but I am quite capable of finding my way around most of the time.
Yeah. So you also said that when you went back to the UK from here, you actually felt more unsafe there than you did here. How is that? Why is that?
Yeah, that's happened to me a couple of times when I've gone back home.
Really?
I think maybe we know our own country better.
Yeah.
We know the dangers, and so maybe when I'm traveling, I'm in a little bit of a bubble. I don't know.
Yeah.
But possibly it's because maybe society is becoming a little bit more dangerous there. I'm not sure.
Where are you from in the UK?
I'm from Wales.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't live even like in a big city like London, but still, wow.
No, but I mean, I don't experience that in Wales actually. It's more so when I'm in big cities.
Okay, yeah.
You know, London and Manchester, places like that.
Yeah.
So during lockdown, I stayed with my family in Manchester for 3 months. So, I mean, lockdown, it didn't feel unsafe during lockdown. Everybody was in their homes, but sometimes, yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, we seem to have growing homelessness, growing social issues, violence, crime.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm noticing it more or if it's become more of a problem. I'm not sure what it is.
You know, that's interesting because often some people in Asia, in third world countries, seem to think that we have no problems in the West, that it's some kind of a paradise, but actually there are a lot of issues, and you're right, like some of the cities are really unsafe, and you know, Islamabad, I think I heard somewhere, is actually among the safest cities in the world these days, which is amazing, and also it's pretty small. I suppose that's why. But yeah,
I don't see homelessness in other countries either. I think people maybe look after their own more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, when you're not from that country, you don't know the entire story. But yeah, I hope things will get better for everybody in the world, for all homeless people particularly.
So obviously you're from the UK and there's a big Pakistani population there. Did you know any Pakistanis before you came here?
Yes, yeah. Two of my closest friends are British Pakistanis.
How did they feel about you coming here?
Well, yeah, I mean, they were kind of excited. I tried to encourage them to come with me.
But they wouldn't.
They won't come. Like, come, it'll be amazing. We can, you know, travel together. You'd really love it. Plus, you know, they can speak Urdu.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Not that you need to be able to hear. But, yeah, and also, you know, in our country, curry is the #1 favourite dish. So we have I was living also in Leeds, which is a multi-ethnic city, and there's a big Pakistani community there. So I knew quite a few people actually.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like a completely unfamiliar place for you before?
No.
Okay, great.
Which is nice, and people gave me some tips, and
Okay.
hints, places to go, things to see.
Really? What
Yeah.
did they tell you to see?
Well, my friends who used to live here, they said, well, you have to go to Islamabad,
Okay.
of course. Faisal Mosque,
Yeah.
and the hills and surrounding area, which I haven't been to yet.
Okay.
So
that's
I'd like to
still
do some
something.
hiking here.
Yeah, excellent. All right, time to take a short break. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with Claire Roberts, a British traveler. So Claire, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you got into this whole traveling thing and what you were actually doing before that. What inspired you to kind of change everything in your life?
Well, I've always been interested in traveling. As a child, I heard stories from my mum and dad who used to travel quite a bit. My dad was in the Merchant Navy.
Oh, wow.
And my mum, aged 18, went over to Switzerland to work in a hotel, send money home for her family. So she was quite bold and courageous, I thought.
Yeah.
Also, my stepsister used to work for the British Embassy, and she'd travelled all over the world.
Okay.
She was actually based in Islamabad
No way.
for 3 years.
Okay. When was
So,
that?
I think that was in the 80s.
Wow.
I didn't see her much in that
Fascinating.
period of my life, so but I think it was in the 80s.
Okay.
So
cool.
yeah, with role models like that, I kind of always had itchy feet a little bit.
Yeah.
So we started with family holidays. We went to Spain a couple of times. I was lucky enough to go to Switzerland with school skiing, and I just always wanted to travel, and I hoped that one day I could have a job that would allow me to travel, but that didn't really pan out.
Okay.
So eventually I just went down the path of trying to earn enough money so I could travel. And
So what were you actually doing? You were working as a debt advisor, right, for the government before you
yes, well, I was a homeless prevention officer for local government.
Wow.
And debt advice was one of the things that I used to do with some of the people who were threatened with homelessness.
So that sounds like a very important but also probably a very stressful job, right?
Yeah, it was stressful. I mean, it was very rewarding, but this is people's lives, people's homes that you're trying to help save.
Yeah.
So I felt a lot of responsibility. And sadly, there were so many people who were facing losing their homes. During that time, we had the people losing their homes because of unemployment and the housing crisis.
Yeah.
A lot of people due to ill health. And then all the other, issues, drug addiction, alcoholism, family problems of various kinds.
Yeah.
So it was great. I've always wanted to do something that, that's helpful to people's lives. I wanted to go into a more caring profession.
Yeah.
So it's something I always wanted to do, but I found that quite stressful. And eventually it was because of a medical condition I have myself, have chronic migraine.
Oh no.
It was becoming a little bit too unmanageable.
Right.
So then I decided to retrain as a social worker.
Okay.
So I went off to university for 3 years to retrain, and with the aim of doing social work overseas. That's what I wanted to do initially.
Okay.
And then when I got to the end of my course, I thought, I kind of thought about relocating to Australia.
Really?
So this was my initial plan. My
Okay.
plans change all the time. And I thought, well, I don't have to hurry to get there. Maybe I will travel en route. And a friend of mine, 15 years prior, had cycled to Australia. And I thought, wow. This is
From
a great
the UK.
idea. Yeah. He cycled pretty quickly, a lot quicker than I did. So I thought, right, why not? And I wanted to go, I didn't want to go into middle age being unfit, so I thought this would be great to cycle every day, raise my fitness.
Yeah.
Also, I couldn't really afford to travel by car or plane, so travelling by bicycle was the cheaper option. So yeah, decided to give that a go.
Wow. That's incredible. So can you tell me like what countries you ended up visiting? Then you were in Hungary, in all these countries along the refugee trail, so to speak. How did that happen?
That's right. So yeah, well, initially I set off from university with a group of cyclists from university. We were doing a charity ride to raise money for air ambulance. Wow. So we did this 8-day period cycling to Prague. Then I was going it alone, but along the way I wanted to have these interactions with other people, and I had always wanted to carry on the sort of either fundraising or social work.
Yeah.
So when I was in Hungary, sadly the refugee crisis was at its peak. Not that it's got much better really, unfortunately. So I felt that I wanted to do something immediately. You know, there were all these people stranded in the train station in the capital. So I headed there, and the first day I was just working in the stores, handing out clothes, shoes for people. The next day I turned up for work, everyone had disappeared. And they'd all been put on trains and travelled to Austria. So the camp was completely empty.
Wow.
So then I thought, well, obviously people are still on the route.
Yes.
People still need help in other places. So I travelled south to a project that I knew of. It was basically a warehouse, so I was helping sort in all the donations that were coming from all over Europe, but I still wasn't working with people, so I wanted to be in the camps or somewhere else. So next I travelled to Croatia on my bike. Ended up there looking really bedraggled one day because it rained all day.
Oh gosh.
When I got there, I think the volunteers thought that maybe I needed help more than anybody else. I don't know. I looked such a state, but I wasn't allowed to stay in this camp because it was run by the military and the army, and the big NGOs were there, and I was just a solo volunteer. So then I thought, no, I want to go to the hotspot, to the place that needed help more than anywhere else. And I looked on this map that some people had kindly drawn up for volunteers, and Lesvos was the place of most need.
In Greece,
Yeah, so people were arriving on the shores every day. So I joined a small charity called A Drop in the Ocean, Norwegian charity actually, I think they are. And we were mainly, well, we were doing several things. We had a tower and we had binoculars, and we were looking at the skyline, looking at the water, looking out for boats and people crossing. And when we saw boats, we were informing the local Coast Guard, and also our volunteers who were on the beach. So sometimes we were also on the beach welcoming people, helping them off the boats, giving them emergency blankets, dry clothes, because people were arriving soaking wet. The boats, when they arrived, people were terrified. The boats were half submerged in the water, overloaded with people, you know. Boats that are designed to carry 16 people had over 50 people in them sometimes. So we would be, you know, just giving first aid, water, hot tea, dry socks. Also, later on I was involved in setting up 2 tents, a women's tent and a men's tent. So people could come in, get warm, have a change of clothes. And I tried to make the tents as welcoming as possible, you know, with the changing room for the ladies, so they could have some privacy, somewhere comfortable to sit, some toys and nice things to keep the children occupied. So yeah, I did this for a couple of months through the winter.
Oh gosh, it must have been freezing also.
Yeah, I was a little bit cold too, but not as cold as they were, obviously. And then because I had been looking out at the horizon and beyond to Turkey every day, I started to wonder, well, what's the situation over there? I want to know what's happening over there. People were arriving, sometimes they had injuries because people had assaulted them on the other side or in the water. The Coast Guards were assaulting them, and some of the people, smugglers, were not treating them very well either. So then I decided to go over to Turkey, and then I worked with a charity called Revi, and we were helping people relocate into the community in Izmir. So trying to encourage people not to take the dangerous route across the sea, and trying to help get children into schools, get medical care, find them places to live. Also, it was a reciprocal agreement. Every Sunday the refugees would invite us for dinner. And yeah, it was wonderful. We'd provide food for them, but they would cook these amazing banquets. We'd all sit on the floor together and talk, share bread, and and hear about their stories. Obviously they were, you know, miles away from home, desperately wanted to be at home, but they had amazing resilience and really were making the most of the situation that they found themselves in. So it really showed the strength of their character.
So most of these things that you've done, you've been volunteering, but sometimes like you're trying to take on jobs somewhere, you stay somewhere for a little while and then you travel for a while again. What kind of job? You were in China, right? What were you doing there?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, occasionally I run out of money. And I have to fund my travels. So yeah, I worked in, while I was in Georgia, I kind of fell into teaching because it was the only thing I could do really. So I was self-taught, had to put a lot of hours in to polish up my grammar, which is awful still. But then, yeah, when I arrived in China again, I'd run out of money. So I went to work in Kunming in Yunnan province, and worked for a very nice school called I2, a private school. So children would come to us, well, not just children, adults, all age groups, all language levels, and they would come to us after school or at the weekends. So yeah, I taught there for a year and a half. And lived in China for 2 years in total. Oh,
that's amazing.
So yeah, it was great.
How was that different from Pakistan? I mean, the culture must have been very different.
Yeah, it is, and the language, I guess, was the biggest difference. It was a little bit of a culture shock for me, arriving in China and then finding that it was a little bit difficult to communicate. Also, I didn't always have Wi-Fi because, you know, if you've got Wi-Fi, you can use these translation apps. So I would do that when possible. But when I first arrived, I travelled for 2 weeks with a Chinese guy. We couldn't speak to each other. We couldn't communicate hardly at all. But somehow we managed, you know. He could say, all he could say in English was, "Oh my God," which he said several times a day. The poor thing, he had, his bicycle was prone to punctures, and so, yeah, he'd get a bit frustrated. And then I could say ladio, which I think means chili or spicy.
Okay.
And
you think?
Yeah, it does mean that. Yeah, my Chinese is not very good. But he would do most of the cooking, so he was travelling with a pressure cooker and a duvet on a bicycle. So I had this huge trailer, and yeah, I would contribute the vegetables, he would contribute the noodles, and he would do the cooking, and somehow we managed to rub along together. But yeah, so arriving in Pakistan, it was like, wow, people can understand me.
All right, we're going to take a short break. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. I'm here in Rose and Jasmine Garden with Claire Roberts, a British traveler. So let's take a little walk.
Yeah, nice.
So I actually wanted to talk in detail about that first trip you made here in Pakistan, because that sounds pretty interesting. You came from China. Where did you start from? And on a bike, right?
Yeah. Do you mean right from the beginning of my trip, from UK?
Yeah.
Or?
No, from
No,
China.
from China.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I started in Kunming, where I was working.
Yeah.
And travelled through right through Yunnan province and, well, basically the west side of China into Xinjiang province.
Okay.
And then when we got to Tashkurgan, unfortunately we weren't allowed to travel over the border by bicycle.
Okay.
So we had to take a bus for 150 kilometres.
Right. But why is that? Is there like some kind of a rule there? Or?
Yeah, I think it's the Chinese government don't allow you to travel in that area. It's the same on a lot of their borders. It was the same when I entered China.
Right.
But the Pakistani government, they do allow you to travel from the border. So when we arrived in Sost, we decided to go back to cycle back up to the Kunjara Pass, so we could start do every part of the KH as we possibly could. So yeah,
it's amazing. How was it? I mean, the altitude is also pretty high. How did you prepare for all of that? And like, did you face any altitude sickness, or how was it? Like, that sounds like an intense trip, right?
It is quite high, and it was snowing when I got to the top.
Wow.
So yeah, we're above
slippery
the snow.
and like wow.
But the altitude didn't bother me so much.
Okay.
When you're traveling on a bicycle, you're traveling so slowly.
Yeah. So then it's not like all of a sudden you're somewhere. Yeah.
And I cycled up and down in the same day, so I didn't do the whole thing in the same day. My friend Jamie, he cycled all the way from Sost to the border and back down, but I took 2 days.
Okay.
I didn't want to push it.
That's amazing. And I mean, like, where did you sleep, and like, what did you eat? How did that whole thing like happen?
Well, a lot of the time I camp en route, and every third day I stay in a hostel or a hotel. Okay. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to do that so much in Pakistan. I think because of the situation that happened with tourism after 9/11. I think that the police and the authorities are so mindful of tourists having a good experience here, and they don't want anything to happen to a tourist. So every time we tried to camp, and I tried to do it covertly so I'm not noticed, because I love camping in the countryside.
Wow. And you see the stars and everything.
It's so beautiful here.
Amazing.
But whenever they find me camping, they kindly and politely escort me to a hotel or ask us to cycle on.
That might be, just a very Pakistani cultural thing also. Maybe they're like, oh no, what is this? There's a lady sleeping by the side of the road. This can't happen.
Yeah, I think
be,
it could be.
Wow.
We tried to say that we like camping, but I guess people, they're like, no, come stay with me. You can't sleep in a tent, surely.
Wow. Oh, that sounds incredible. So from there, like from the Khunjara Pass, which way did you go then? Where did you travel from there?
Right, so basically followed the Karakoram Highway. And we took one detour. We went up to Astor and Rama Lake. But other than that, we're mainly on the KKH. Yeah. Because I was actually cycling that part of the journey to raise money for my friend's charity.
Okay. What kind of a charity is that?
It's called Solace. It's a charity. Solace, sorry.
Okay.
It's a charity for pregnant women who don't have anybody else to support them.
Oh wow!
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, my friend, she's doing amazing work. So I wanted to do something.
This is a Pakistani friend, or
no? This is back in the UK actually.
All right, incredible. Wow. And so, was there like a particular place along this route that was something like the most memorable or the most beautiful place for you? What would you say there was a place like that?
I think my favourite part of the route is Paso Cones.
Oh yeah.
I love it there.
A lot of people would say that probably, yeah.
I don't know, it's something about the shape of those mountains.
They look incredible, right?
Yeah, really incredible. I was lucky enough to stay in a hotel that was like, I opened the window and there they were.
Wow.
Like a painting.
Amazing.
Yeah, so beautiful. And then there's the river as well, isn't there? It's got it all.
Wow.
So, yeah. Although I still really have a really soft touch spot for Sost. I really love Sost, I don't know why. But I've made some nice friends there, so I guess where your friends are, those places become special for you, don't they?
Exactly. Wow.
And of course the same for Lahore, because my friend Sunny, he's hosted me this time in Pakistan. He did also last time when I was here. We met him on Rakaposhi, when I was walking up to Rakaposhi base camp. Yeah, I met him in his dog hatchery.
Oh, wow.
So, I do like Lahore as well. I've also been cycling with a lot of people there.
Yeah.
There's quite a big cycle community there. So I've joined a few groups, one women's group called Wonder Women.
Awesome.
It's great.
That's amazing.
So,
So awesome experiences you've made.
Yeah.
Have you ever, I mean, like, I'm just still stuck on thinking about you, like, you know, cycling through the Khunjarab Pass. I mean, did you face any issues there, like run out of water or food or anything? Did anything happen to your bike? Any difficulties, or everything just went smoothly?
Well, yeah, it took quite a while because people are so intrigued that every few minutes people are like, can you stop? Can I take a photograph with you? And the whole water thing, people were giving me water and snacks, and you know, it was tough though going uphill. You know, from Sost it's pretty much uphill all the way, and then when you get to the switchbacks, that is quite punishing.
Wow.
And then you get onto the top and it's really, really cold. And because you've been sweating all that way, when you get to the top, suddenly you're quite chilled. Yeah. So I was waiting for my friend to arrive because I'd obviously set off a day before, and I became really, really cold actually. And there's nothing there. There's the ATM, but there's no other shelter up there, other than the army have a few buildings. And they were so kind. These men invited me in. I sat round their fire. They made me a cup of tea. And I thawed out a little bit. So, but on the whole, it was a great ride. I loved it, especially going down. I love the downhills.
So nothing dangerous ever happened to you here?
No, I was really looking forward to seeing snow leopard though.
Yeah?
No snow leopard.
You didn't see one. Yeah, they're a little bit elusive, I hear.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what about this time around, now that you came here? Where have you been now, and what's still left for you to see?
So as I said, my friend Sunny, he hosted me this time. Yeah. And while I was back in the UK, actually, he was like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? Yeah. And he told me that he was going up to the north to Hunza to do some exploratory filming with a group of students. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're trying to pitch an idea for a travel show. Anyway, so he invited me along. Yeah. So we went up in his truck and we travelled all around Hunza, which was incredible. Yeah. It was great to be back there again, see people that I'd met before. Oh wow. So yeah, that was really nice to see how everyone was a year on. And then, you know, this friend of mine, he's such a great host that he's said to all of his friends, look, Claire wants to travel, she wants to see as much of Pakistan as possible. Yeah. If you're going anywhere, you know, can you invite her along?
Oh, that's so nice.
It's so nice. Yeah. And a friend of his was going to Jalpana near Sagoda. And so I went along there for a few weeks as well. Okay. So I spent some time on the farm, which was lovely. Very relaxed, a different kind of travelling. Yeah. Yes, just, you know, sipping lemongrass tea every day, watching the cows, and it was really, really
Country
beautiful.
living. Yeah.
Really enjoyed
So now what's left is the south, right? Like you mentioned in the beginning.
Yes, the south. Well, first, tomorrow actually, I'm going to SWAT.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
How exciting!
Yeah, I'm going to do a survival course
No
for 3
way.
days. Yeah.
What kind of a survival?
Well, you know, learning how to make fire with sticks and
That
build
will
shelters.
come in handy for
and
you.
Real primitive stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe we're going to be camping, and it's probably snowing up there.
Probably.
So,
Good luck.
yeah, thank you.
So another thing I wanted to ask you about is that you're actually vegan.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Pakistan is a country full of meat lovers.
It
How
is.
have you managed that here?
Right. Well, it hasn't been too difficult actually, because you can always get dal mash and sabzi, mixed sabzi, and I love pakoras and I love samosas and all of these things. Hopefully, are vegan.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite dish? Is it dal or?
It could be dal. Yeah, I think so. I like chat too.
Chaat, yeah.
Chaat.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
I like that sweet and sour kind of flavour.
How cool. You know, I've often heard, like, I also know a lot of people who are vegetarians who live here in Pakistan, and they always say, like, they go to a restaurant, then they ask, like, something with, like, vegetables, please, and then they bring, like, a chicken dish. And then they're like, no, but this is not meat. Has that ever happened to you?
People think that in a lot of countries.
Yeah,
it's
that
remarkable.
chicken is not meat.
Yeah.
It's not a vegetable.
It's not a vegetable, that's true.
Should we sit down for a bit?
Yeah, lovely.
So, I mean, you've seen quite a lot of the country now, and now you've been here 2 months, and before also 2 months. So, what would you say is your favorite memory from Pakistan? Something, or your favorite experience?
Gosh, so many.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Also.
Yeah. When I've been invited to people's homes, and I can't just pick one because they've all been so memorable, you know. And also, I'm a huge fan of truck art.
Okay.
And when I arrived in Mansehra, we'd been invited to stay with a family. Actually, we met Mr. Khan up on Kunjara Pass.
Okay.
He invited us to stay with him. And I said, you know, I told him that I wanted to get my bike painted.
Yeah.
So truck art styly. And so he took me along to the painters, you know, the same people who paint the trucks. And he gifted the paint job to me as well. He paid for my bike to be painted. Yeah, it was amazing. And so now Black Betty has to have a new name.
Yeah, that was the name of your bike?
That was the name of my bike. She's now Betty Queen of the Hills.
Wow. Oh, that must be so amazing.
Yeah, it is. And people love it, you know. When they see the truck out, they really love it.
I'm sure. Have you been anywhere else, like outside of Pakistan, traveling on a bike after that happened, after it was painted?
I haven't yet, because the bike stayed here. In fact,
right,
my
you
bike
left
was
it here.
in my friend's gallery on the wall, like a piece of art.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the response is.
Exactly.
And I'll always have a souvenir from Pakistan, which will be amazing.
Nice. So after you leave from Pakistan, where do you think you'll be going next?
Right, well, that's the $1 million question. It kind of depends on COVID.
Right. It's difficult now.
I'm planning to, I've already paid to do a CELTA course, you know, to teach English as a foreign language. And I paid for that in Bangkok. So I'm waiting for the Thai borders to open, and I'm hoping to go there. But in the meantime, hopefully I get the visa and I can travel more in Pakistan. So that is my next port of call. And then who knows? I mean, I may never leave Pakistan at this rate. I love it so much.
That's amazing. So do you think you'll always continue traveling? Is this what you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, traveling is just my lifestyle now. You know, as long as I have good health and as long as my family back home are in good health, yeah, I hope to carry on as long as I can, as long as the knees will carry me.
Yeah. Okay, then it's time for our rapid fire round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Shalwar kameez or Western clothes?
Both.
Yeah?
Depending on the weather.
True. Lahore or Karachi?
I have to say Lahore because that's where my friends are, and I haven't been to Karachi yet.
Okay, fair enough. Chips or pakoras?
Pakoras.
Really?
They're my favourite.
Yeah. Your favourite Pakistani dish?
Well, pakoras.
Yeah.
Closely followed by samosas.
Oh, okay.
And then chaat, maybe.
Beijing or Islamabad?
Oh, Islamabad.
Yeah? Okay. First thought that comes to your mind when I say truck art?
Oh, love.
Yeah. Your dream destination?
Oh gosh, dream destination. I don't know. I want to see everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay. Pakistani music?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love the rhubarb.
Yeah?
Is it rhubarb? Is
Yeah,
that how you
rhubarb,
say it?
yeah. Golgappe?
Mouthful.
Okay. True. Nanga Parbat?
Oh, stunning.
Yeah, you made it there as well.
Yes,
Wow.
to the glacier. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I'm so jealous. I want to go to all these places too.
Go.
The best thing about Pakistan?
Well, obviously hospitality, the warmth of people. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Okay, then you get to sign our visitor's book. Here you go.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what you wrote. People of Pakistan, shukriya. The warmth of your welcome has been truly heartwarming. Pakistan Zindabad. Amazing.
Zindabad.
Thank you so much, Claire, and I hope you continue to stay here in Pakistan for a couple more months, and I hope you have an amazing time.
Oh, thank you, Maya.
Thank you so much. That's it for today. Please join me again next week, and don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts at indus.news. Stay home, stay safe, goodbye.